The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome to Old Space Show. I am Brandon, and riding shotgun with me is Tony.
Ooh, we are driving right along. The end of the road is in sight, but not quite yet.
Yes, I promise I won't say any Yellowstone stuff. I don't even watch Yellowstone, so I promise this week I will not go on that little weird tangent that happened. So this series of Old Space Show, it will follow the exploits of a man and his car, the first season of Knight Rider. Today we are here to discuss the 17th episode, A Nice, Indecent Little Town.
Oh my. Michael travels to Alpine Crest, posing as a skipped tracer in pursuit of a counterfeiter. There, he and Kit find out the CIA is keeping an eye on a much bigger operation.
This one's directed by Gil Bettman, written by Frank Telford, who is God tier, because I don't care about any other credit of this man. He wrote the 1976 television movie Riding with Death, which is my personal favorite episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Boom. Boom was the dynamite.
A guy that can turn invisible because there's no other. He has to drive a truck across like the country with something in the back, but he can turn invisible. That's a thing that never.
Goodness.
Oh my gosh. I think it was like a pilot or first 2 episodes of some show that failed and they made it into a TV movie. They edited them together and it's a thing of beauty when it went to MS33K. So
it's fabulous.
All right. So it stars David Hasselhoff, Edward Mulhare, Patricia McPherson, William Daniels, Norman Burton, John Crawford, Jean Bruce Scott, Eric Server, Amzie Strickland, Luke Askew, and Charles Bartlett. All right. So here we are with this small little town with a counterfeiter hanging out in it. But we do have a big open. We do have a big open. Michael's like on a stakeout. We're like mid-adventure. And he goes on a chase for this guy that gets away. But most of our episode takes place in this little town where they're getting an award for lowest per capita crime rate.
You're just asking for trouble here, just asking for trouble. And of course you see, beautiful, sleepy little town. They're driving cars that look like they're out of the 50s sometimes. And if you may be wondering, dear viewer, why does this look familiar? Well, this is once again Mockingbird Square, later renamed Courthouse Square. This episode was shot a mere 2 years before this square turns into Hill Valley for Back to the Future. And you can very clearly see here, like the dressing is already there. Like there is no denying that they're in Hill Valley. So if you're wondering why it looks so wholesome and 1950s-esque, that's why they were already prepping for the next big thing.
Yeah, we're in 83 right now. So they are either they're getting ready to dress it up for Gremlins because it gets used there for 84.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, it's about to go through some serious cinematic motions here, that's for sure.
Right.
Of course, this is the second time it was used here in Knight Rider.
We should call it the Knight Rider.
The Alpine, a good day at White Rock is where it was. Yes, previously.
Yeah, we should call it the Knight Rider town, not Hill Valley.
I like it.
There
you go. They had it first.
Yep, Knight Riderville. Yeah, Kit Town, Michaelton. I don't know. Bonnie's Bayou, whatever you want to call this place. So it's funny that this counterfeiter is hanging out in this fucking stupid award that they want Devin to give a speech about and hand it out there. And then there's a thing where Michael thinks he spots the counterfeiter guy there. He ruins the ceremony because he spots him. And Bonnie, the dumbest line I ever came out, where he's like, the counterfeiter's here. She's like, they have the lowest per capita in the state. Like,
in the whole state.
I was like,
Oh.
yeah, oh geez, yeah, oh gosh, not here.
Yeah,
we'll have to take their award back.
Really pushing it hard. Well, and it was interesting too to watch them. Like, obviously, again, they're working hard to work Devin and Bonnie into the physical, like being physically present part of the script, which is great. So, but then when they were giving the award out there at the Hill Valley Town Square, there's a sign that says "Welcome the Foundation for Law and Government," and I'm like, "Oh boy!" Like, seeing it written out, like, I do not see the flag acronym seeing it written out. Like, I'm like, that is just a long ass generic government type name. I do not see the acronym there.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Right. So Kit's printer, this is the one like we talked about last week, and I confirmed for me it was Doc Matrix because I noticed this holes on the side of the paper.
Yes, the holes were there, of course. But it's really funny because, like, Michael, after it prints something out, Michael like goes to take the paper, and someone in Foley editing put the ripping noise in there, like whoosh, but the paper just literally fall, like somebody behind the scenes like pushing it out, like there's no rip.
There's no tear here. Yeah. So there's also Michael. So he gets this print off and he goes to warn the sheriff, but he's all like ho hum about it, and it's got this real like I'm in on this kind of thing. As Michael leaves, Michael leaves, he stares at his direction, and the music swells up really. I'm like, yeah, okay,
okay. Telegraph that a little bit more, please. Thank you so much.
And then and Michael also, he gives these like Leave It to Beaver reference to like Kit as he's driving through the town. Like, everybody's all in awe of this freaking little town.
That was hilarious. Yeah, he's like, I expect to see Wally and the Beeve, and Kit, who is the supercomputer who's been programmed probably with all knowledge about all humankind. Like, what?
Yeah, pop culture not important.
Apparently not. No good for him. So
this episode did feature, I noticed, a lot of like behind closed doors dealings and alliances going on throughout.
I think yes, the writers were working extra hard to try to like. Yeah, there's because the CIA was a whole big thing too. Like, they couldn't. I don't know if they felt like they needed more gravitas to how big this money laundering operation was supposed to be. Like, the CIA involved. Like, it was a weird like roller coaster of like who all's involved in this and how big does it go and things like that. And yeah, it was a weird vibe. There was a lot of moments in this show that were filled with non-Michael and Kit, like back room chit chat.
Yeah, and we had the whole we had the line, "This is a tough business. It's what keeps America great." Like, oh,
ooh, just about 20 years too early for that one. But okay.
Yep, there you go. It came from Knight Rider.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
But so Michael leaves town, and then he's like curious, and he comes back, and we get to meet Aunt Martha.
Good old Aunt Martha.
Yep.
One of the funniest, a little later in the episode, but one of the funniest stunt drivers that you'll ever see in, like, you can see like there's a spot, spoiler alert, there's a spot later in the episode where she gets to drive Kit, or she gets to sit in Kit while Kit drives himself.
Right.
But the stunt driver is clearly like got a blonde wig, like a dude with a blonde wig on. Right. And it's like, oh my gosh, this old lady is not in that car, but okay.
It was only meant to be seen once and on TV, and hope you missed it on a CRT tube. That's
right.
The idea. But then, so like Michael, this is like this local paper, and her niece works there, and like Michael Sinder is like figuring stuff out. He's like, "Oh, when I find out, I promise you'll be the second to know."
He's so witty, that one.
and then there was this whack scene where like was he talking to Devin, and he's like, "Give Bonnie a kiss for me, will you?" I'm like, all right.
Yeah, we're getting a little quirky here towards the end of the season. We're trying to figure out where the chips are gonna fall in this will they, won't they type of weird bit of their relationship here. So
It's will
yeah,
they, won't they, is they? Like
yeah,
it's
can they?
can they?
Should
Why
they? Should
they?
they?
Yeah.
Who they?
Yes, who they?
Go a little Drax there. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very interesting. Yeah, the whole plot is kind of like I understand the plot, but it feels like this script was kind of I feel like they had a core idea and then they kind of built, and as it grew, they weren't
Mhm.
sure like this branch knew what was going on in that branch and things like that. In fact, there was a couple I was reading online. There's a couple reports that there's that big um chase scene in Act 4 where
Mhm.
Aunt Martha gets to get in the car and Kit takes the police on a ride
Right.
while Michael takes her old 1950s ride and heads to the Hallelujah Press headquarters. That whole chase scene wasn't in the original drafts of the script,
Oh,
according to
okay.
what I've read. It was Michael was just going to be in Kit and just lose the cops on the side streets and then just get
Oh.
there. So they added this, like, obviously fun comedic effect of seeing the old lady in the
Makes
car and
it
enjoying
better,
it and things
honestly.
like that.
Like,
But yes,
yeah.
but yes, the script obviously grew as the show was maybe even in production and
Oh,
maybe
wow.
not as organically as they had
So
hoped,
that's
because
why they
maybe
didn't
that's why
have
it
the
feels
stunt
so.
person ready. Yeah.
I probably, yep.
Oh, yeah, because our next, actually, Michael chases the counterfeiter guy and he gets arrested, which, once again, Knight Rider episode with one of our leads in a small town's jail cell. Like, wouldn't be Knight Rider without it.
That's right. Well, not only is Michael back in a jail cell, in order to break him out, they do reuse footage from Night of the Phoenix Part
They
2, where
do.
Kit just runs out of F's to give and just smashes through the prison wall,
He's like, I
because you
must
can
have
tell
Michael.
after they not only do they reuse Kit footage, they reuse footage of Michael getting out of the cell. He's holding his shoulder like he was, because he was
Oh,
injured in
yeah.
Night of the Phoenix.
Oh,
So
that's
in
right.
this
Because he
one,
gets, yeah.
they reused footage of Michael himself holding
Mhm.
his shoulders still. But of course, before we get to that, you get really funny scene, which this is for me, was one of the high points of this episode, is where the sheriffs are trying to jack Kit up
Oh,
physically
yeah,
with
yeah,
a
yeah.
jack, trying to jack him up, and he keeps backing up. And one of the sheriffs gets smart, like, do it again, make it back up again, and Kit, they get him to back up onto like an actual
Oh,
lift. And
yeah.
they figured out, these bumpkins figure out, the one way to stop Kit is by physically lifting him off the ground. He's literally and figuratively spinning his wheels.
And I did like those sheriffs when they were he was telling about someone else about it. He's like, yeah, I'm having a hard time with some joker in a Trans Am. I was like, that's one way to describe Michael Knight. Like,
There you go. Pretty accurate.
but yeah, they did figure they who defeats Kit? Country Bumpkins. That's
What are you gonna do?
and then Kit reports to Devin. He's like, Michael is indisposed, and Devin goes, well, that either means he's with a young lady or in jail. And he's
Yes,
like,
and Kit somehow covers for him. He's like, I'm not at liberty to say which. I'm like,
"Yep."
just tell him he's in jail, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and Devin doesn't seem to care. And he's like, and then we find out like the counterfeiter has been showing up in town as this Bible salesman, and the woman, the reporter, Aunt Martha's niece, is like, yeah, for a guy in that profession, he's a terrible flirt. I'm like, wait, what?
We can't put two and two together. This is way before we had our whole deal with
Yeah.
the Catholic Church in the 90s. Like, this is way before that. Like, we put it together by now.
Oh,
But what are you gonna do?
I forgot this crazy. Like we have this like the informant guy that's in this episode with the reporter. We
Uh-huh.
don't know,
Yeah.
and then he gets murdered. Like
Dead.
he's dead. Like found dead in a hotel room, which is like a like stark contrast to what the vibe this episode's putting off. Like this
You're
is
right.
kind of
Another
a silly episode, and then that's
Yeah.
there. It's like God, it looked horrific and sad, and I was like, oh man,
Yes, we get another very casual kill from the hands of the quote unquote true bad guy of the episode, the nonchalant
Mhm.
murderer who's like the gun for hire, who is run out of cares to give in the entire world.
Yeah. And if you had any question about whether or not the sheriff was like chauvinistic or anything, he's like, give a girl a little bit of college, she'll think she knows how the world works. I was like, Ooh, okay, man.
Oh boy, here we go. Now we're getting to the real reason that Aspen Creek has a low crime rate per capita, because they don't let the women folk out apparently of the kitchen too far, and
Right.
the guys just won't get arrested for hitting their wives, and it is what
Right.
it is back in the 50s/80s, I guess.
You're right. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's after this that the Aunt Martha goes for a spin chase sequence
Yes.
happens. And there's like an old produce truck that wrecks during this. Like, it's old fashioned and stuff. There's like a produce truck. There's Benny Hill music going on during it.
Yes.
And then I love when Aunt Martha gets out. She goes, "Hot dog, what a car!"
And then just wanders away off into the sunset.
Yep.
Well, Aunt Martha forgot to take her meds. Who knows where she'll end up? She should get her own spin-off show for all I care.
Yeah. And there's the reporter woman. She's like, "Is there anything this car can't do?" And he goes, "I think a woman would be a better judge of that." It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're riding some lines very precariously here for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, they stop. They foil everything with the counterfeit guy, the Bible salesman, because they were gonna buy that building to do stuff and things, and
they were going to use this press to essentially press their money. That's how Michael figured out how to go back into town.
Yeah.
As he was leaving, he said, saw a sign that said, "Thanks for visiting Aspen Creek, home of Hallelujah Press."
Yep.
And he was like, he had another moment of clarity where he's like, "Wait a minute, that press. What do you need to create counterfeit money? You need a big press."
Yep.
And that could be it. So yeah, because he was literally on his way out of town. It would have been a whole different episode if he wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together there.
Yep.
So
And apparently it's only reported crime per capita, not the what's actually going
right
on there.
now. It's completely shot. Just like in the last episode where they're going to have to redo the race, this episode they're going to have to rethink the award at the end of the episode.
Gonna have to go to a different town. But Bonnie's there. She's like at the end, and she's like, "I think I'd have liked growing up there." And I was like, "Oh, Bonnie," and she's got this dug her outfit. She had this sweet teal jacket on and stuff. I was like, "Oh man,
yeah."
If there was a Bonnie action figure, it'd be that. They probably put her in one of her jumpsuits. But she and Devin decided to go out because the townsfolk gave them all a Bible as a gift, and Kit wants Michael to read it to him. They're like, "So long, dude." And Michael pulls up a chair to read Kit the Bible, and I'm like, wow, this is the 80s.
Yep, they did stop short of him.
He didn't say
in
a
the
single
beginning,
thing.
but he opened his mouth and then the credits rolled, so they could conceivably it could have been any Bible, but odds are good we're looking at the old King James version there.
Yep. So yeah, that's this episode. It was silly fun. I was down for most of it. It was
a good time.
Nice energy. It's always good to see Hill Valley up and running again.
Oh yes.
So Tony, let's shift gears and look toward the sunset before we hit the horizon. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can come hang out with me on the internet. Find me on the social medias, your Facebook, Instagram, Twitters at Tony Schaab. And if you want to stick more to the genre type stuff, please feel free to come hang out at sciencefiction.com, where I am the senior editor, and we do all the fun sorts of pop culture news reviews, all the good stuff under the sun there.
All right, hashtag Kit of Latter-day Michaels, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at BrandonForkyUHD. We're going to work on Why So Blue. Scream 5 is next in the Scream retrospective before we get to our Scream 6 review when that comes out. So stay tuned for that, but also come back around for Wednesday here on the Knight Rider Old Space show. Yeah, we're having fun. So till then, from Old Space,
Brandon and Tony, not so lone crusaders in a dangerous world. The world of Old Space Show.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.